everybody. Welcome back to Black Card Rehab. I am Crystal Adams, and I am joined by my white friend, Paige. Hi, Paige.
Hello.
Paige, on a scale of 0 to black, how are you feeling today?
On a scale of 0 to black, I am feeling cornbread. I've been spending my entire quarantine baking. So
nice.
Okay, that's how I'm feeling today. And Crystal, on a scale from 0 to African American, how are you feeling today?
I'm honestly feeling pretty Solange. I just did my twists today. Did my hair, put a little peppermint mask in it.
Ooh,
you know, so I think I've been Solange before, but like, I don't know. Do we think Solange is doing her own hair care routine?
I feel like there are so many different versions and iterations of Solange that it's fine to be Solange more than once.
That's true.
And there's absolutely no way she's doing her own hair. Not in a million years.
She's got a team. I'm sure they all got a team. That would be, I mean, I'm sure she pays. You think she pays them in blunts? Like, I don't.
if I could pay people in blunts to do my hair, I would. So I have to imagine she is. If I was even just moderately richer than I am now, I would constantly have other people doing my hair. So I have to imagine she'd be the same.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening, you guys. Every episode, as you know, we go from 0 to black, one episode at a time. And we have guests come on and tell us about things in Black pop culture that they love. Today, we have on a very hilarious guest. She's going to be the voice of a cartoon coming out on Adult Swim. She is a stand-up comedian. She's a sketch comedian. I just met her on a show. She's super funny. You guys, we have Bri Gigér.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 0 to black, how are you feeling today?
I would say black, like 10 black, because I was 10 minutes late. And I could have been early, but I was like, it doesn't feel right. I got 2:10 on the dot.
Early. It's the wrong move.
Right. I love that you said Solange because my dog's name is Solange.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we always feeling some type of Solange.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Well, so did you name the dog after you knew about the Solange, like the famous Solange?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I wanted, like, we try to keep it pretty Knowles in the household.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when I got her, she wasn't giving me like that many Beyonce vibes. So I was like, okay, I'm Beyonce, you're Solange. And Crazy in the Sky was playing when I found her. So it was meant to be.
She'll take down a dude for you in an elevator.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, most especially dudes. She'll just be out and she'll just like go off on some dudes. I'm like, that a girl.
You know it's a good dog when they're willing to kick a fool in the chest.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that your dog's name. Wait, do you have a nickname for your dog? You just always full Solange?
It's usually Solange. Sometimes Sola if it's like quick.
Oh, I like
Sola,
that.
Sola. And then sometimes like people can't pronounce it, or my dad he can't figure it out. So
oh no, what does your dad call it?
My dad says salon. So I'm like, can you just try Sola at least?
I just posted this thing about like what have black people in your life been inadvertently been calling the coronavirus. I know a black person who's been calling it connivious, and I'm like, black people every time for the win.
Yeah. It's like, I want to see what black people feel about this, because I know it's going to be amazing.
Connivious. I'm like, wow.
He said it like verbally, like out loud.
Yeah, she's like, this connivious, da 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 da, and I was like, you mean the coronavirus? I mean, it's so bad, I gave it a new name. I'm like, okay,
sure,
that's the explanation.
Right. Yeah. Connivious sounds like an old ass, like a 1940s grandma from the South.
Or like, I don't know, something in Greek mythology.
Yeah,
like
Connivious.
Yeah.
The legend of Connivious, who hoarded all of the toilet paper and then graciously gave it back to mankind.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you going to talk to us today about?
I figured I'd talk about I would love to talk about my favorite comedian. I feel like the reason why we're all here, the reason why we all do this. Her name is Jackie Moms Mabley. I know I talked to you about doing Beyonce, but I feel like we got enough. Like we did enough. I'll always somehow find a way to talk about Beyonce.
Yes.
But that's like our comedic Beyonce in a way. Like, you know, she kind of paved the way, you know, queer Black woman of in the 19th century that just really was kind of like the first to do it. She was talking about things in like political, you know, and racial adjustment and stuff like that before anybody was, or before anybody of that nature was really like, you know, on air or being filmed or on these talk shows or whatnot. And yeah, it's important to know about her. And I studied a lot of her. In
like you listen to like the stuff that you can find, like recordings and things of that nature.
I was blessed with a vinyl like super early on.
Wow.
And I didn't listen to it much until Whoopi came out with her documentary about her, and then I re-listened to it after that because I didn't know the importance of it, and I didn't think I was going to be able to relate to all the jokes or whatever, just being young.
Sure. How old were you when you listened to it?
I must have been had it been at least, I'm about to be 30. I was almost 21, I think.
And who gave it to you?
It was a friend of a friend's in the theater department. And was a white lady, and you could tell like I was this Black student. She was happy to give this to
yes
She's like, I have been waiting for a Black student,
an ally.
You know, you said like you remind me of her, you sound like her, you all these things. And I saw the picture of her and I was like what? I was like, girl, this bitch don't have any teeth. And then I listened to it, I was like, oh, okay, that's a compliment. I'm on board. You should have prefaced that, but I'm on board.
So funny because that's like classic, like you know, I understand just like the sensitivity because I remember like when I would get braids and then all of a sudden I would get compared to Brandy and I'm like, I look nothing like this woman. But it's like white people with very little context for Black people. So but like it sounds like this white woman actually like had like she was on to something at least in terms of the
right.
Yeah.
She didn't just see some braids and was like, oh, Brandy. It reminds me of Cinderella when she did Cinderella or some shit.
Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Only one of the greatest.
The best one. The only one that I respect and acknowledge.
Right. Is there others? Her and Whitney went off in that.
That's true. You can't top Whitney.
No.
Why? Don't even try.
Right.
Impossible. Oh my God.
Oh God.
The
emphasis. Yep.
That was heavy in her wig adjustment phase too. Where she would
Whitney's.
She would get sweaty and just kind of tug it in different directions.
Just give me a second.
Yep.
So she gave you this album. You listened to it.
I listened to it. And then, you know, studied it a little bit. Started memorizing some of the jokes.
Would you do them for people, or like what made you memorize them? I'm curious when you first started memorizing.
I guess I had hopes to have to do it for people. I think at the time there was it was like October, so there was like Day of the Dead type of like show where you could bring back a comedian or bring back any
stick
kind
or
of celebrity.
treat. Yes, it happens every year.
Right. And so I brought her back. And then I think the first time I did it, I did my own jokes, like my own renditions of her. And it was kind of like it was a take on like her stuff and then what was going on. So I think it was around the time like Obama was coming out. They had that dumb shit about like SB something was passing, basically where people in Arizona could like see like someone brown and be like, oh, show me all your shit and stuff, and then like kick him out of the country if they didn't feel like they were American illegal enough for some type of bullshit or whatever. So I like kind of use those jokes to like kind of Moms Mabley-esque jokes of what she was talking about.
So like an update, like she was talking about political stuff back then. So you were talking about political stuff that was happening at the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So her
like if
political.
she was with us, this is what she'd be mad about.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially now. She'd be like, what the hell? Like, this is what you're doing right now. So yeah, and that didn't work.
She's like, in summary.
Yeah, in summary. They were like, I don't get it. What? Why are you doing it in that kind of voice? Why you act like you have no teeth?
Like nobody got the reference.
They didn't get
Nobody
the
like
reference.
they didn't have the cultural knowledge of who this person was.
Right. So then it was like, I need to honor her in that sense, in terms of just honoring like the jokes. And then I kind of made this whole type of show where if I were going to go to more modern day things that was happening, I would just kind of end on that, where she was kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get the hell out of here because shit's kind of fucked up down here. I'm gonna go back to heaven or something like that. I would wrap it up, but like it wasn't making sense to do it how I was doing it, so I just did her jokes.
Yeah.
So,
and then fast forward, like you started listening to it again, like after the documentary, you said.
Yeah. After Whoopi did it, then it's getting old. Now we're like really getting to like the YouTube times and like really really watching it and watching her on I want to say Ed Sullivan. I think she was like the first like on Ed Sullivan and stuff like that. Watching these clips or whatnot. I don't know if Whoopi, I don't know, like people released more into the world or whatever. But again, this was like real, like, people were like YouTubing things, right? This time I was like, early 20s. So there's a bunch of clips.
Yeah, I didn't see the documentary. So I don't like, how did she even end up on Ed Sullivan? Do you know?
How did she well, it's crazy too. And the amount she was making like 10 grand or something crazy, like a week or something, which was still like under most of the comedians back then,
Oh my God.
And
I know to have that much money now,
God.
even wonderful.
It was ridiculous. So word just kind of got out about her. But at the end of each set too, she like sings, and I would not do that during my actual set of it. But at the end of it, she like sings like beautifully, like this. It's like, why, bitch, why am I crying right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like very like emotionally type of like social injustice type of like song she would do at the end of her sets. And it was just the like how would you not want that, on your show? It was like, I never seen anything like that. A comedian just like have you busting out and then at the end just have this like, she's like, yeah, I want to sing now. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this now. And it just was like, jaw dropping. Yeah.
Describe Mom's Mabley, like the person.
For people who don't know.
Yeah, for people who don't know.
Okay.
What does she wear?
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful question. Like muumuus. Like think of a long grandma-esque like muumuu. For those who don't know, like a big t-shirt type of dress, like no slit in it, like from your neck to
no structure,
just
two
knitted
pieces of fabric,
pieces of fabric, just knitted for fun. That happened to be, a long old dress that people, that people would rock somehow, and that was kind of like her thing, and like slippers, and then a big old what would you call that? Like a bonnet or like a head bonnet? Why
for some reason am I picturing her in a fishing hat?
Well, yeah.
Maybe she wore that sometime.
She did wear kind of like a bucket hat, but the
like a night bonnet.
It was like a night bonnet
for like
it was
your
like
curlers
knitted.
And stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on national TV. Yeah. On
right.
TV.
And on national TV.
Right. Just looking right. Where I mean. That would be because people weren't wearing suits then, but that would be kind of like the like it wasn't too like male-esque, it wasn't too female-esque what she was doing. I mean, it wasn't a dress or whatever. And this woman has no teeth. I don't know the history of not having teeth, but she has no teeth. Maybe a few in the back. I don't think she has any teeth. She had no teeth, so she kind of would talk. She kind of would be like my name is Moms. My name is Moms. Jackie Moms Mabley. Let's MOM forwards and MOM backwards and upside down. That's wow. Just like very like there's like nothing in that like it. You could hear everything she was saying, but there was no.
Yeah, like she reminds me of like just an old church lady.
Yep. Yep. Just like spitting facts and stuff. It's cool too because they'll show the white people all watching her and stuff, and it's like the greatest thing they've ever seen. Yeah. And I'm sure back then too there were probably exits in different doorways that she was allowed to enter in dressing rooms or you know, or whatnot. And, you know, all these people laugh and stuff. And then, you know, she goes back on her merry way, and then she's back on the streets, and these people probably like didn't give a shit to help this woman that just entertained them for, you know, however long. But the way they look at her, like how we look at Beyonce, for real, and it's just is wild. And then
because she definitely, I mean, at least to my eyes, to my 2020 eyes.
Oh yeah,
not actually. No, I mean like the year 2020.
Got
I just
you.
realized how that sounded.
Yeah,
but like I'm like, this is somebody who I can imagine most people like just dismissing on the street.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But she's on national TV. I don't even know how, like, I'm just like amazed at that. Yeah.
Yep. Like just normal looking woman, just kind of, you know, just doing her thing, has this presence or whatever, but you wouldn't think twice about her. And not only can she do comedy, she can also sing. She was also an actress. She also was queer, and she also had 2 babies, like when she was like 13 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and had to give up her babies. She started performing at a place called Chillins or something. Basically, it was a place back then in like 1930s where only black people could perform, and they would serve chillins and all types of, you know, food and whatever. So and they would do, they did this thing where it was like 37 scenes in like 37 minutes or something. Something like that. I might have made that up.
That's a very specific number if you did.
Right. Yeah. Like, does that sound? But yeah, she's you know, performing for forever in all types of places wherever they could have her. But then it was like, fuck that. Ed Sullivan, like no one was really, especially black woman, wasn't, you know, at that time.
I think she was, if not first, one of the first. I'm pretty sure she was first though.
Right, because who else would even be?
Yeah, as far as comedians, no one.
Right.
As singers or entertainers, maybe, but I think that was even later. For like Etta James was later, and it was a whole thing connected to Marilyn Monroe. But I'm pretty sure Moms was first.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I have this thing that says 15 quotes by Moms Mabley, and I was gonna read one out loud, but you did such a good impersonation to have you pick one, and you could, or two, and read them in Moms Mabley's voice. Let's channel her.
Okay. Are these her quotes or her jokes?
I mean, I think they're a little mixture of both. Like things that, you know, taglines that people would have that they kind of just say at the end of a thing that like that's their calling card. It kind of sounds a little bit like that. That's when I'm reading them.
Okay, this is dope. Okay, got it. Okay, I like this. I do like this quote. I know this quote. Black women, white women, all of them. I'm colorblind. I don't know the difference. I only know you're a human being and you're my children.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Can I do one joke for you? That's
do it.
I was over there in Miami. I was driving. Mom's got herself a new, you know, Chevrolet. I was driving, and the police pulled me over, and they said, "Excuse me, miss, you you just ran a red light." I said, "What? No, I did it." He said, the police officer, "Yeah, you just ran a red light." She said, "Well, I seen all them white folks using the green light. I thought the red one was for us." That's brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's inside me somewhere.
And do you feel like, in what way do you feel inspired by her?
Oh man, just like anytime I write a joke and then I get in my head about how I think that this audience, specific audience or specific show, or I'm a certain part of town, or these people, white people, black people, whatever, gonna think about this joke. Especially when I'm on the road, I find myself thinking more about, like, you know, I'm not in LA anymore. I don't know, you know, how they're gonna feel about it. Like once I see her or think about her, I really get more like, man, but she, you know, she didn't give a fuck on like national TV, you know, like who are this group of people to tell me how I should change how a joke that's been landing for years just because I'm in, you know, Phoenix or Utah or something, that like just because of that. And then as soon as and anytime I stay true to that, then it always lands. But I do talk myself out of some jokes because of the time period or who I am with or whatever. Or even sometimes it will be like a feminist type crowd or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to say the word she, or I don't want to say the word this, or a queer crowd, or like I don't want to use this or something that like, you know, like those are like, that's my people, and I think too much in my head. But it always, whenever I do like my original way, it always works. And then I actually talk myself out of it, people are like, huh? So I always just remember to I don't know, not give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fascinating because I don't know why, but I keep coming back to the way she looks, only because, especially being on national TV, there's so many ways that like it feels like to be a Black woman to make it on TV. There's so many discussions right now about what kind of Black woman you have to be and what you have to look like in order to get to TV.
Right.
There's discussions not just of like size, but also colorism.
Exactly.
And like hair texture. That's a whole thing.
Yep.
And it's like, but this little Black lady slipped through the cracks. And
her looks and the styles and stuff and whatnot. It's important to who she is. And
is it a character that she's built? Like, do you know the backstory of it?
What a beautiful question. I don't think it is, because I see interviews and stuff of her too, and it's still like the same. I seen one too, was like the 80s or the 90s or something. She either died, I think maybe she died in the 80s. So it's very casual, kind of like this. So she's old and frail on her way out, and it's the same type of tone, like the same type of mannerisms and the showing her teeth and same outfit and whatnot. And I heard she had like a lot of ladies too, like she was good,
really
going down with some girls, like some fine ass, Playboy type S people. And
are there any names? Did they ever name names?
We should look it up, because I'm sure people weren't.
I mean, she doesn't have teeth, which is a plus.
Right. You don't have to worry about
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Dress for the job you want.
Right, for sure. For sure. Like, do whatever you got to do down there. I feel comfortable. That's amazing. Yeah. Is it coming up? Anything?
I'm looking up, like, I don't know. Did she ever, like, I guess she wouldn't have been allowed to marry before she, not legally.
Yeah. Because she was married to a man during all of this.
So she, okay.
And so that's where a lot of the jokes too come from. Like, I was married to an old man. She's like, I was married to an old man, older than Santa Claus's father. Older than dirt. You could just tell she hates him, and they hated each other. But it was kind of like, she made it very known, like that was like, this is the decoy really to what's really going on. And a lot of the things say she was out. I don't know in what way she was out, because it wasn't like her comedy was saying that.
Right. It seems like she was out in the entertainment world.
Okay.
Like, it was like, I don't know.
I think maybe almost like a Neil Patrick Harris, where like the art's not normally about that necessarily, but we all know.
And he's proud of it.
Yeah.
If you asked him about it. Yeah, for sure.
But still probably not something that she was ever interviewed about.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that's like always interesting, is like they somehow managed to like skip over that, if that is like there's a certain time period where that was something, all of a sudden that was something you could be interviewed about.
Yeah.
But before that you weren't, because, well, people were getting actually in trouble for it. Like, people were there.
It was still illegal in a lot of places at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let alone like marriage, of course. So yeah, to what degree was she out? But enough. I don't know if it was more like they find out after, like, oh, she's gay, and like, let's post about it, this is how we describe her or whatnot. But yeah, out in a sense.
I just wonder, like, because what was that? There's a popular singer that kind of has a similar story. Is it Bessie?
Oh, It's a full ass movie, right?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. And it's the same situation where like she's like badass singer of like I think 1920s, 1930s.
Yeah.
And it's just like woman after woman, just like, and she's got like a harem basically at a certain point.
This is Queen Latifah herself.
I know. Well,
has Queen come out?
No.
Still no?
No, not that I know. But it's one of those things where we know. Yeah, I don't think she needs to, but it's one of those things where it's kind of that like common knowledge, but not formally announced, I guess.
Damn.
What would really surprise me at this point is if she came out as straight, and I'd be like, "What?
Wait,
really?
You can't be straight now."
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is your most mom's Mabley joke that you do
Of her stuff?
Just like your like of your material. Like, what's your most mom's Mabley joke? Like, you feel like, oh, there's like a part of you that kind of maybe channeled her.
I think a lot talking about like kind of white culture and like the misdirect of things. You know what I mean? She's very good at the misdirect type of joke. So I have a joke about like how I hated going to school with white people, and I went to college, a white college.
Which college was it?
It was the University of Arizona.
Oh my God, that's the whitest college.
Yeah, it was.
Where are you from originally?
I lived in Arizona.
You lived in Arizona, so you knew what you were getting into. It wasn't a bait and switch.
I know. I mean, it was like it was either Latina or white. Especially in the art stuff, it was fairly white. The stuff I was doing,
just a whole bunch of Meghan McCain's.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would be more ASU. Like the U of A was more like Native American, like brown and Jewish and stuff like that. So like they'd be out there. I wouldn't see like Meghan McCain type in like in the theater world, but they were out there. Actually, that's where about all my weed from was those types of girls. And that like was like it was those girls, and they had the best weed, and they would smoke you. You would buy an eighth, and they would smoke you out, and I'd be like, actually, I'm high enough. Like I don't actually need to buy it. But majority white, and so I had a joke about just going to school with white people. I usually like to do it when there's a crowd of white people, because that's what it reminds me. Like this reminds me of college. And so the misdirect of the joke is, or the joke is, did I say the joke? I went to school with white people, and I hated going to school with white people, but not because I hated going to school with white people, just because whenever I missed class, the teacher would know.
No, yeah.
And so how I couldn't ever miss class or go to, this is true, I couldn't go and celebrate like 420 or any, or anything. People are like, oh yeah, I'm not going today, blah, blah, blah. I would get some type of email like, hey, I noticed that you weren't in like, is anyone else getting this email? But I get it too. I'm like a 6 foot tall, big black girl and loud too in class or whatnot. But I think the misdirect to get people to like say something like really not offensive, but kind of like, where is this going? Like where the room is like, because if you say I hate going to school with white people, I hated being around white people, and you talk it up and then tell them the only reason why is just because I could never ditch class and shit.
You're saying this, and I ditched entire semesters of classes I didn't like without people noticing.
Oh my God!
Wow,
I missed a whole most of a quarter of a humanities class that started at 7 in. I just couldn't get up for it.
Yeah,
and still got an A.
Oh my God,
that's fucking amazing. Actually,
thank you.
If you can do that,
right?
You know what I mean? That's cool. I guess I would try to do it too. I had some teachers that were like, listen, if you can just, get do your shit, and then you don't have, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here type of thing. But for the most part, it would be like 500 people lectures, and the teacher would still be like, nah, you weren't. I didn't see you there.
Rude.
Really? Yeah, but I made it out alive. There. And, that's kind of where I was really, and I did Africana studies, so that I was lucky. So I was like, okay, I can get through stuff with all these white people. And then Africana studies, I'd have like my people, and was like kind of a whole building
balance.
We got. Yeah, it was a balance of it too, and I would use that and try to use all the stuff I was learning, the black culture, into the theater or whatnot. So it helped kind of like wake these people up with Black history and Black facts and whatnot. But mom's helped that a lot for sure.
What's a black fact that you've woken people up with?
I think. Oh, I love that. Well, I think a lot of the people didn't know in general about it. In general, about the Africana degree and classes and majors as a whole, and didn't know the fight for those classes to be even in place at any school and in the universities that weren't like HBCUs. And as I was leaving there, they were doing like origins of hip hop, France and hip hop like classes in terms of that, and like Africana music and dance and stuff like that. And like, and as I was on my way out and whatnot, so I would tell people, I would learn some shit. I'm trying to think of like something crazy that I would learn. People didn't realize that, like, I remember some girl didn't realize that, like, plantations were still like around, and not like there was some girl and she was like nah, like they destroyed all the plantations and stuff. I'm like, why would they do that? They're definitely still around. You could be living in one.
People are getting married at them.
Yeah, sure. I was like, you could take tours. We honeymooned in Virginia, and part of one was the tour, and the tour guides now are very open about, these are the enslaved peoples who lived here. This was their job. This was their quarters. And so they're very open about it. And there were older white women on our tour who were like, why are they talking so much about slave stuff? And I'm like, because that's who lived here. Like,
wow.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know where you are.
Excuse me, do you have any other facts other than slaves?
Yes.
Seems like.
And we were just like, what? Oh, I don't. What?
Yeah.
And the tour guide was just like, and just moved on. Just didn't even address it.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Yeah, I would towards the, because I was there too. I was there too during like the Obama elections and whatnot. I went to the community college down the street, but I was during Obama's time or whatever. So I was like 18. So I was like making sure, I would make sure they knew when Black History Month was. I was like, yeah, make sure. I had some friends. I was like, this, if you were thinking about getting me a gift, now would be the time to do it.
Have you considered reparations? Because that's what I'd like as a gift.
Yes, please. I want a eighth and a blunt wrap February 1st. It's cool being grown, because I would come very angry and stuff a lot, like come to like, like, oh, these motherfuckers don't understand me or whatever. But the older I got, I was like, I used it through art and used ways to like kind of show people, how it was done and where it came from and whatnot. And the history too of the actual college too, was pretty amazing in terms of like the Black people that came before us and how they worked for the fraternities and stuff, to like Black fraternities and stuff to be on that campus, and whatnot. So
I really like what you were saying, though, about like, just how Black people are using art to kind of live in both of these worlds. Actually, like, it's really fascinating to me because, and I like that we're talking about Mom's Mabley, because it shows once again how there is such a deep and far-reaching history of living in both of these worlds and being so knowledgeable about like how to play upon the expectations of the room that you're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I recently was at this show at the Laugh Factory in Chicago, and this one woman, I didn't know she asked for this until she came up on stage, but it was a Black woman, and they played the Don't Stop Believing. That
Journey?
Yeah, they played Journey. But then she came out like pumping her fist, singing all the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then she was like, see, white people don't think I know this song, but I be knowing your songs. And I just love that, like, even in that moment, like, that's a piece of Mom's Mabley. That's a piece of, like, I know what room I'm in.
Right.
And I know what you all are thinking.
Right.
And I asked for this song. Actually,
yeah.
The DJ didn't make a mistake.
I require the clubs I go to play this as I come on.
If they don't have it, I request Sweet Caroline as a backup.
Exactly.
That's exactly how I would hope that would go. Mm-hmm. That's perfect. That's perfect for sure. I've seen DJs as you're coming up start a song and like careful and like switch to like a little Nicki or something like that, and like oh no sir, go ahead, go play what you was gonna play. You'd be surprised. So Moms has a joke. I'll do it real quick. Everybody, anytime I go out, everybody calls me Ray Rogers. Ray Rogers, you know Ray Rogers. Does anyone know Ray Rogers' horse name? Do you know his horse?
Silver.
The nickname was like Trigger or something.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Everybody, everywhere I go, everyone calls it says Trigger. Hey, Trigger, how you doing? You move so fast, Trigger, and like move your ass, Trigger. Get over here, Trigger. Or at least I think that's what they calling me. And that's my favorite because it's just
great.
And there's a bunch of white people just laughing their ass off, but they had to be like, where you're like, that's how it went for sure. Like
absolutely
calling people out.
I used to request Pony by Genuine at Flappers.
Hilarious.
And they would refuse to play it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They'd be like, what's your second choice? I was like, Roll Out by Ludacris. And they were like, okay.
So one question I want to ask you. So you grew up in like kind of a mixed area. Like, have you ever had somebody say like they like revoke your black card? Or have you ever said it?
I've revoked a few black cards. Mainly Beyonce stuff though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like
if people don't know stuff about Beyonce?
Yeah, and like the older I get, I've realized that people might not fuck with her as hard as I fuck with her. And I always ask myself, like, is this a bit? Like, do I really love her this much? And then I'll go to sleep there like, I'm like, this isn't a bit. This is really like.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, like
she's pulled me out of multiple depressions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She's my Lexi Pro for sure. Just pop a little bay. Yeah, I've definitely taken some stuff from like things that I'm really, really passionate about, like Tina Turner and Beyonce and like musically stuff like that and whatnot. But I've gotten it taken away before. I think it was like Martin. Which I did grow up watching Martin, but there was the episode where
somebody didn't know an episode and somebody took away your black card because you didn't know a specific Martin episode.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's upsetting.
It was a bit, and the whole room knew it, and they were like the part where and then he does but was the episode where the thing comes out of the closet or something and like attacks Martin, and they had to it's like a 20-minute thing where he tries to get it off his body or whatever, and I still wasn't, and everyone was explaining it louder and louder but in the same way. He's like, but he does. I'm like, y'all.
That is very black.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody has new words to add to the conversation. just
more
volume.
Just louder. I was like, you know what? You could have it today, but no, because I talked it up. I was like, yeah, I fuck with Martin. I fucking love Martin. And like, oh, then blah blah blah. You know that episode where that?
No, I'm sorry. I twist it out with other facts. Facts about plantations.
That's more my style.
I'd love if at the end they were just like, oh no, wait, that wasn't Martin, that was Alien.
Oh shit, what must have? Yeah. It was pretty much a take on.
When you were like, yeah, attached to his face, I was like Alien.
Yeah,
that's so funny. He was good at an act out. That's one thing Martin was good for. Is
for sure.
It's an act out that needs nobody else but himself.
Absolutely, and that's what I know. And I watched the episode, and I'll never do it again.
Well, Bri, thank you so much for being on Black Card Rehab.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Y'all got my ass all the way to Pasadena, and that is special.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe and give us a review, and we'll be black next time.